Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. We will be talking all things related to Napoli, the game that we just had against Juventus, the game that's coming up against Torino, Barcelona, the new coach. But we will be doing this with a very special guest because he is the not only the winner of the November Napoli Talk Predictor game. I know it took us a while to organize this, but he is also the current leader in the standings. So, one of our best predictors out there. I want you guys to say hello to Brian from the States. Brian, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me today, Dom.
Brian,
And it's
which
good to
part
get
of
a win.
the which part of the States are you from?
Texas, and it's getting hot now.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we will get to Texas later because I want to ask you some questions about the World Cup that's happening in the
Oh
US,
yeah.
and I want to ask you about, if you have any plans of going and all that. But tell me a little bit about yourself. How come you're a Napoli fan?
Okay. My dad's from New York. He came down here for the Air Force and met my mother. And his grandparents are actually from Caserta, so that's where my family originates. So Napoli was the closest team, and I actually started being a fan before last season. So I was 1-0.
So right before last season you started.
Yeah, because I we researched the family tree and it was Caserta. So
Oh wow. And that's a great year to start, man. I mean, you have a very interesting story there because everybody else had to go through years of suffering
struggle,
and
man.
then so you were okay, so you were a good luck charm and you've also had a lot of good luck with the predictor game. So it's good to have you on board. You've been leading this predictor game this season, which means that you've been predicting more times than not that Napoli has would draw or not get the most exciting result. So you didn't have a lot of trust in this team with the old managers. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, some I was pretty off, and I finally got the last game right. So
Yeah, you guessed 2-1. I think you also guessed one of the goal scorers. So actually you're leading this month as well with 5 points.
but the a few games before this one, I was guessing that we were gonna win 4-0, not lose. So I
Yeah.
had high hopes, and we're back on track now. So
Yeah, the new manager. I mean, you probably watched the game against Juventus. It's a
oh
bit
yeah,
it's a bit of a breath of fresh air. It's a bit more exciting to watch this Napoli team now, isn't it?
oh yeah. Finally getting Osimhen back, that was a lot of the problem, and I
Mm.
think they just have their drive back. They they want to they want to do something, and I
Yeah,
think
and I
that comes
wanna
from the
yeah, and I
coach and
wanna yeah, and I wanna ask you about Osimhen a little bit. So we've got the Barcelona game next Tuesday, and but we have Torino on Friday. If you were the coach and you have such a prized asset, do you rest him for the Torino game so that he's at his best against Barcelona, or do you think we can't afford to do that?
I think we just have to keep playing him and keep him mobile. I mean, there's always a risk, but we still have a chance for that fourth place spot too. So we have to keep playing him
Yeah,
and
we are.
keep on track. No Simeone. That puts us off track again. So just play him, maybe limited minutes.
Yeah, I guess try to get an early goal, maybe one or two, and then take him off with 30 minutes left.
Yeah,
Um, because we're at a point where everything is a bit of a must win right now. Just looking at the standings, we are 8 points behind fourth spot Bologna and four behind fifth spot Roma, which that fifth spot might open up a Champions League possibility if all the Italian teams do well in the European competitions. Do you think that fourth spot is achievable, or like what percentage chance would you give us?
How many games are left?
We have 11 games.
Yeah, I thought it does. Oh, that's very achievable,
Mm,
especially at the pace we're at. Where this is where I wish we were at last season, Champions League wise, where we're just getting hot right now.
mm,
Where last year we're sort of the opposite right before Champions League, and Osimhen hurt like always, but
so true.
right now he's on a hot streak, so that will help us push hopefully to the next round.
And I think that highlights such a key point here that, a football season lasts, or a soccer season lasts 9 or 10 months. And these are guys playing every 3 or 4 days. It's tough to keep that level for the whole season. And I think people underestimate just how difficult it is to go from
Oh, God.
start to finish. And there's just very few clubs that are able to do that. And it's true that last year when it was, the critical time in the Champions League, Napoli fell a little bit short. And yeah, it's a shame. But now it's the complete opposite, right? Where we seem like we're on the rise, and there is that Champions League game coming up. What about with that? So you're quite optimistic for fourth spot. What about for the Champions League game? Can we go and get a result against Barcelona?
I think we do. Change a couple things up, and we look a lot better than we did a couple weeks ago for that game. So I think we beat them at away
Oh, that we beat them. Okay, nice, nice.
by 1 goal. 1 goal.
1 goal. Okay. I have a feeling, so I'm gonna be at the game. I'm gonna because I live there. I'm gonna be at the game. I have a feeling it's gonna go to penalties. I've got this feeling that it's gonna be a tie and it's gonna go to penalties, and I don't know if my heart could take that, to be honest, man. So, guys, next Tuesday there is this incredibly important game for Napoli season. I mean, if we do well in the Champions League, let's say we get past Barcelona, maybe we get a easier opponent in the quarterfinals out of the ones available, and we get past that. I mean, it would give a totally different view on our season looking back if we manage to go all the way in the Champions League. So there's a lot still to play for, and it's so important what you said that now is the time to really start pushing our performances. Where do you think Napoli could have been if they had this new manager from the start of the season? Do you think we would have been fighting for the title, or would it still have been a difficult year after the title?
I think if we had the right manager, we'd be sitting at fourth or fifth still. I think there are some guys in the locker room still not on par with each other. I think we still had some issues, but the manager was part of that too. So I think we'd be higher up, but not at the
Hmm.
top.
And you mentioned the locker room issues, with some quite high discrepancies between the wages of different players and weird situation with contract renewals. This could have been handled better by Napoli, surely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And with Osimhen probably leaving this summer, we might get a lot of money for him.
Yeah.
What's I mean, obviously we need to get a replacement for him, so we're going to use a big chunk of that money for that. But is there an area in this team where you feel I wish we had someone better there that, I think Napoli should go and invest in? What's the key other weakness in this team?
Um, there's a few players that have to think about, but we need a offensive midfielder. Our
Hmm.
our midfielders defensive minded or just pass minded. They just want to pass the ball.
Yeah.
Um, so I think we need um, one defender at least and an attacking midfielder. and as well as a forward if we
Yeah, I think
lose.
that's perfect. I think
And I
that's perfect. Hmm.
and I think for now we should put Raspadori in that central midfield section that Traore is in right now.
Oh
I,
yeah.
I, I think he'd fit perfect.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, Raspadori is one where everybody says, he should go here. Like every coach, like not just us fans, but every coach just uses him. Some use him where Osimhen was, others where Politano is, others. He was tested by Spalletti in that position at some point last year. It's tough to know where he is best at, but recently he's also been one of the players that is starting to get a bit of form.
Oh yeah.
Um, and yeah, I wonder if he can play a critical role in the upcoming games. But what you said about an attacking midfielder is so true, and he could provide a bit of more attacking mindedness in our midfield. Also because like I don't know if you noticed, man, but like very few people are shooting from outside the box, whereas other teams are taking shots outside of the box to us, and they are making us suffer a lot with these long range shots, and it's a weapon that Napoli doesn't really utilize a lot. So that could be something very, very interesting. Now I want to go to your prediction. I mean, you don't have to. This is your baby. What's in your head is precious, right? But I want to go into. You can say something and then do something else in the predictor game
Yeah.
to trick people. But because you're our best predictor, I want you to predict the next game against Torino. How do you see it happening?
Um, I think we win. We're on a stride, but I'm thinking they're gonna settle down. Maybe not as big of a win because we're going to Champions League, but also they could win by a lot, showing Barcelona what we really are made of. So
Hmm.
that game's a challenging one. So I'll have to think about it and look a little bit of what I didn't even know what Torino did last game. So look
Yeah,
into that a little bit.
all right. So you are keeping your cards very close to yourself. Obviously, guys, there is quite a big prize at the end of the season. So I don't blame Brian. By the way, I'll put up the scoreboard right now. So Brian this month, well, it's one game so far this month, got 5 points. He guessed quite a few things right, and he's leading with 86 points in the season leaderboard, 12 points above second place with 11 games to go. So actually, you're not safe yet. There's still possibility.
Far from it.
So yeah, yeah. I think I've seen some people get actually quite high results in just 1 week, and it leapfrogged them quite high. So you never know, but obviously I don't want to jinx or anything like that. But
Yeah.
you're doing well. I want to
Thanks.
talk to you a little bit about the World Cup because you're an American guest onto the show. There's a huge event happening in 2 years' time in, well, not just the US, but Canada and Mexico. And I think in Texas there will be a few games. Um, so I just want to ask you a little bit, let's say I were to come to Texas for the World Cup, like what are like the two, three things, that I should do? Like how long should I stay there? How long should I, you know?
Um, well, since the final's supposed to be in Texas too, you just need to take off the whole month. Go to some group games. The games are in Dallas and Houston, so um, lots of stuff to do in the cities. Um, I'm by San Antonio area, so I'll be traveling as well, and hopefully Italy make the World Cup. I mean, they just have to.
Yeah, that's something that we have to see if we can do that. I mean, would you be supporting Italy or would you be supporting the US team?
Um, Italy's my team, but of course USA as well.
Nice. And
But
talk to me a little bit
Italy's my
about Yeah, and talk to me a bit about, the football slash soccer culture in the US. Do other people, do you know anybody that watches Napoli or the Serie A in general, or has that not
Um,
picked up as much?
that definitely hasn't picked up. And Texas is more of a American football uh,
Yeah, it's a
state.
big,
state.
yeah.
So Napoli, there's more supporters on the coast, New Jersey,
Hmm.
because that's where all my relatives are. But it's slowly picking up. The MLS did the big thing with Messi,
Yeah.
so they're trying things. So slowly but surely, there's a MLS team about an hour from me in Austin. So
Are
um,
they any good?
um, they're like 2 3 years old, so
Ah, okay.
they're picking up. They're decent, but um, not where they
St
need to be.
Still
With
early
with a
stages.
with an amazing stadium there too.
Which one
But
is it? Is it the AT&T Stadium or the other one?
no, this one's just for them. It's a
Ah,
Q2 stadium.
okay. Interesting.
So,
I guess you're gonna try to get tickets for the World Cup, right? You're gonna try to watch it
oh,
live.
I'll have to take off the whole month for sure.
Nice. Well,
That's
I'm very
bag.
jealous. I'm very jealous of you and everybody else in the
Well,
US or Mexico and Canada that get to enjoy such a huge
come on
event.
down.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see if I can manage in the next 2 years. If you guys like and subscribe, then maybe, I'll be able to fund fund my trip to the US. No, obviously I would love to take a month off and go through the different states, and it would just be such a dream to do that. So, yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. Any last thoughts, Brian, before we wrap it up about, well, any topic or anything?
I'm just looking forward to the rest of the season. I think, especially Champions League, we can make a surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so, man. I really hope so. And let's not forget that this is 90% the same group of guys from last year that gave us, such a huge positive result in the league. So, and they've got unfinished business in the Champions League. That's like, maybe they didn't have motivation in Italy to win again because it's like been there, done that, maybe to some extent. But in the Champions League, these guys must feel like they have unfinished business. So let's hope that they're out there motivated and all that. Brian, my man, thank you for coming on the show. It's been a great one, and as always, Forza Napoli sempre.
Thanks.